The gun again on first down. Fires wide. Juan Daniels, touchdown, Georgia.
This is your favorite receiver, Juan Daniels, and you're listening to the DGD Podcast with my man, Robert Reynolds. Go Dogs.
Welcome to the DGD Podcast. As always, your host, Robert Reynolds. Joined with me, Juan Daniels and JP, talking Oklahoma Sooners. We're going to talk a lot today. We're going to talk about the Oklahoma Sooners coaching job, and then we're going to transition to the SEC championship game. Tomorrow, 4 o'clock CBS, Georgia Bulldogs versus the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Welcome, JP. Welcome, Juan. It's Friday. That means one more day. JP, I want to start off with you, buddy. I want to give you a second here to introduce yourself.
Yeah.
Tell people about you, your show, things like that, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, great. Well, first of all, thank you both for having me on today, man. It's a pleasure to be able to be on here with you guys on this beautiful Friday. Now I'm in Indiana. I don't know how it looks down there where y'all are. I'm assuming you are in Georgia. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Well, I am. I'm in Georgia.
NC for me.
NC. Okay. Yeah. No, today up here in Indianapolis, Indiana. That's where I reside. My Twitter is Indy_Sooner. I'm an Indianapolis guy, but I have Sooner ties all the way around. My entire family's from Oklahoma. My parents just moved up here, and I was born up here, so I kind of stayed up here. All extended families all down there, and my sister runs track right now at the University of Oklahoma as a sophomore. So I just, I'm passionate about Sooners football. And I decided to kind of get into it, be a content creator the last couple of years, and God has just blessed me with a lot of people that have helped me out and want to support me. And so, if y'all feel free, give me a follow. Look on my YouTube channels, the Indy Sooner. Love to interact with you guys. But no, I am really, like I said, excited to be on here. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about with everything that's going on with OU and the coaching search. That's just really been crazy. But now that's a little bit about me and just kind of where I'm at right now. I'm actually athletic director in Indianapolis, so I'm glad I could carve out some time to be here because my schedule's nuts. But I love Sooner football enough, and these guys gave me an opportunity to be here, so I'm glad to be here with y'all today.
Absolutely. Guys, just remember here, Oklahoma, in my opinion, is right now the number one coaching opening, right, with a vacancy in the country. So it means a lot right now to everybody in college football because of the importance of this job. So, let's go ahead and get started with this coaching search. Obviously, a little bit of a backstory. You look at Lincoln Riley, Bolts for USC. Everybody knows the whole background to that, right? I'm not going to go too much into detail there. I might even let JP talk about it if he chooses to. Goes to USC, and now you're sitting here waiting for an announcement. Who is your next head coach? I want to get your thoughts on this first. Who do you want to be the next head coach at Oklahoma, and who do you think will be the next head coach at Oklahoma?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, man, this is unprecedented territory for Sooner fans, right? I mean, we haven't searched for a head coach in 23 years. Bob Stoops was the latest one in '98, and everybody knows what he did and has done at OU, and he's about to be in the Hall of Fame. And then he hands it off, obviously, to Lincoln Riley, and we just kind of have the continued sustained consistency, and now we're just in uncharted territory. So OU fans have been just, restless. And I know you've been in the some of the spaces we talked about before, but I'm sure you can feel it in there. We're just kind of like, yo, what is happening? And obviously the timing of it was just terrible with early signing day coming up, and so it's kind of put our athletic director and our president in a precarious position to try to figure out who they're going to hire, and they have to do it quickly. There's not a lot of time to waste. But with that being said, I think I would love to see Brent Venables come back to Oklahoma. I know that's been the name that's mainly been floated out there, and I think Sooner Nation would just embrace him. I mean, you saw what Notre Dame did with Marcus Freeman, right? And that was a guy that, he'd been in Notre Dame. He's loved by the players, all that stuff. Brent Venables is like that, but it's like more magnified because it's not just the players or former players, right? Or even the administration that knows him well. It's the fan base. Like, it would be a galvanizing thing, I think, for the entire Sooners fan base, who's already been galvanized by just this entire situation, right? You had guys like myself who were positive generally, and we're 10-1 or 9-0, and we got certain fans that are upset at the way we're playing. And not that I was, but I'm like, guys, like, there's a lot of people that are paid to be 9-0 right now, or 10-1 right now. So that's what I was saying. But I got called a sunshine pumper. And those are like the two different levels of OU fans: sunshine pumpers and the realists, right? But even then, like, this situation has brought us all together, right? Like, we're all in these spaces talking about who's going to be our head coach. We're all like, we just feel like Oklahoma's been disrespected. Like, Oklahoma football, the brand, has been disrespected because people are like, oh, your coach left you for USC, so it must not be that great of a job. And we're like, what? Like, we're a top 5 program of all time, right? So, like, we have a certain expectation, right? And we just feel like people have disrespected us. And so I think bringing Brent back would just continue to have that galvanization process, just take it to another level, really. And then obviously the other name I've been hearing, I'm sure you guys have been hearing too, that people are kind of obsessed with is y'all's boy Dan Lanning. And I don't know how serious that could or could not be, but I know a lot of people love his name, and I'm interested eventually to get to hear a little bit of what you guys think of Dan Lanning. I don't pay super attention to Georgia football. I know your defense has been incredible this year, but I don't watch it on a daily basis. I'm not involved with the program like I am with Oklahoma, like you guys are with them. So I'm honestly interested to hear what you guys think of him. But that's the other name that I think has been floated out there. And from what I've heard, if that were able to happen, I think that I'd be okay with that too. Sounds like a young guy that knows what he's doing, has tons of connections. Sounds like a great recruiter. I know that Caleb was really close with him when he was being recruited to Georgia. And some people have even said that, we want to keep Caleb Williams around, obviously. And so, is that something that we can do? Is that a direction that we can go? But that is kind of essentially the two biggest names that have been going around. And I think for me, I personally would like Brent just because, like I said, the whole process of what this has done for Oklahoma football, and that's what makes it special, right, is that Oklahoma football is what's in the state of Oklahoma. Like, that is the pro team. And so, like, that's what everybody's looking towards. And for the whole fan base now to be galvanized more than it's been in a long time, I think that would just kind of send it over the roof and hopefully propel us as we look to go join the SEC and play some big boy football.
Yeah, look, I heard Lanning as well. And honestly, I think it would be interesting to see him go. I think Kirby has built this program to see it similar to what Bama has to deal with, and that's losing coordinators, things like that, and reloading with another guy. I could see Lanning go, but in my opinion, I think Venables might be the guy, but we'll see, right? I know there's a lot of theories and in Twitter Spaces, guys. If you just listen into it, it is wild, and it's been like that for days now. But
we had Kenneth Murray in there last night, right? A guy that plays for the Chargers, was a middle linebacker for Oklahoma for 2.5 years. One of the best linebackers we've had in a long time. Was a first-round pick. Was in there. George Foreman. I found out George Foreman was in there last night, which I was like, what? Like, it's nuts, the people that come in there. And I was telling people, I was like, man, like, some of these OU insiders going to ask for the Twitter space to be shut down because there was recruits in there too, and they was being candid. And I was like, they're going to ask for like Twitter to shut this space down because I don't know if anybody's going to pay for a paywall site now. Like, we get more information for free on Twitter Spaces than we do in the paywall site sometimes. So no, but you're right, man. The spaces have been nuts.
And I know Juan, I want to get your thoughts on the potential coaching hire, right? I could see Lanning go. Do you think this would be a job that he would leave for, or do you see him sticking around and kind of pulling a Brent Venables and sticking around being the DC until the perfect job opens up?
It just depends. I mean, here's what's great about the Oklahoma job and what's enticing is the fact that they're going into the SEC. So that's going to be something that's great for Brent Venables and both, Lanning, where, they're defensive guys. And when you get into the SEC, defense is what dominates. And if you go back to when Stoops was at Oklahoma, think about their first national championship, beating a really good, talented Florida State team, holding them to 2 points. It was a 13-2 victory. But guess what? Even back then, defense wins championships. And you look at how good Georgia is. They're built on their defense. Brent Venables, if you look at it, they, with a Clemson team that is not as talented, held Georgia to 3 points. So he's going to be that guy for the job. He's a huge, attractive look for Oklahoma. He's going to get the right people in place. The same thing with Lanning. I think, though, with Brent Venables, I think the Oklahoma faithful, the fan base, they're going to rally behind him, and they're going to have faith in there because look at how attractive is Brent Venables to hold the big, bad, mighty Georgia Bulldogs right now, who is on top of the world, to 3 points. Hey, why would I not want to, hire this guy? And I just think he's going to be huge. He knows what it takes to play in the SEC. Again, it's going to be defense. Defense is big. He's going to be able to get those recruits. He is going to, be able to have those guys rally. Then all of a sudden, hey, we want to be a part of something special. Everybody knows Oklahoma can score points, gobs and gobs and gobs of points. So imagine Oklahoma scoring gobs and gobs of points and then shutting their opponent down. Man, that's going to be something that's very attractive. So watch out for Oklahoma if they do get Brent Venables.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. I think they're taking their time, which is questionable because it's going to bring up these theories and conspiracies, things like that. Who's going to, obviously people are living for this right now. But I think taking their time can be good and bad here. JP talked about this and said that, with early signing day, things need to rebuild this class. I completely agree with that. But also for the state of the program, getting the right guy to come in and keep the success, maintain the success, and not even maintain it, continue the success, right? Especially coming. So you have to get the right guy. You have to get the right guy.
Yeah.
And why I think a defensive mind, and two of them are being talked about right now. SEC is known for its defense. You need to recruit better on defense. Get a guy like Brent Venables or Dan Lanning. That's going to happen. Now, the offensive hires for the coaching staff would be crucial. But defensively, you need to set yourself up because Oklahoma's defense has been not great this year. And that you can get away with that in the Big 12. But when you come to the SEC, you can't get away. It will show up, and bad news comes from that.
Yeah, look at Ole Miss. Ole Miss, I mean, they're a high-scoring team, but unfortunately, they just can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
So, that's something. The other thing too, with the December 15th recruiting early signing, they need to get somebody in there yesterday so that they can keep those signees that they were, that they had, and maybe get some of those guys back. Get Brent Venables on the road, let him go up there, show his face, and just really make a play for those recruits. He's got a great name. Everybody knows that Clemson in the past 4 or 5 years have just been at the top of everything. So you're getting a great guy. You're getting a great hire. But again, that decision needs to happen yesterday as this December 15th early signing is about to take place.
Yeah, no, and that again, that kind of is the crux of this whole thing. It's the worst timing. Like, not only first of all, this is unprecedented, right? Like Lincoln jumping to go to USC, and then obviously Brian jumping Notre Dame and go to LSU. Like those things typically do not happen, and they typically also do not happen in the time frame that they did happen. And so I know that, I told Sooners fans that we've been in spaces talking about it, like, man, like we do got to move. And I know that there are rumblings that most likely announcement will probably happen Saturday or Sunday. That's what we've heard. But I think that ultimately the thing that I told Sooner fans that sets us apart from like a Tennessee, a Texas, a Nebraska, and some of their hires, right? And because people are like, man, if you don't get this right, you could be going that way. Is that we have a great administration. That's what those programs have struggled with, their administration. Our administration has been great. Joe Castiglione is well regarded as one of the best athletic directors in the country. And so this is going to be a legacy hire for him. But, he is the guy that hired Bob Stoops, right? He is the guy that, helped say, okay, Lincoln Riley's probably going to be the guy that's going to lead us and have some sustained success. So, like, we do trust him. Is it antsy? Yes. But I think we do trust he's going to get the job done. I also know for a fact that Brent Venables wants the job. And I think that if we offer it to him, he's going to accept. So that has been going around in Sooner circles is, have we even offered it to him? Because if we did, you would think that it would be announced by now. But also at the same time, the way Joe Castiglione works, nobody ever knows what he's doing. Like that's always been the case. Nobody ever knows what he's doing. He throws a ton of smoke. I mean, you thought USC AD did a great job with Lincoln, which he did with, nobody knew anything. Joe C's like that as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if, it was somebody out of left field, if it was Brent Venables. And now, because we took so long, people think it's not. Who knows? But I think, hopefully we'll find out here soon in the next 48 hours.
No, I think, like I said, we'll wait to see what happens. I think Oklahoma's going to get the right guy. That's, in my opinion, the reason why they're taking their time. But at the end of the day, I still think you need to get the right guy and take your time and do some soul searching, right? And honestly, you could be hiring a guy that's playing in a conference championship, which we're about to translate to right now. We're transitioning over to Alabama and Georgia SEC championship game. Look, you're about to join the SEC, so welcome to this discussion. Georgia, Bama, 4:00 Saturday, CBS in the Benz in Atlanta. Leading up to this game, I think it's been an all season long type lead up, right? Build up to it. In my opinion, now obviously Bama lead before the season, I thought we were going to see it happen and this was going to be a national title type game like it has been in the years past. Bama's kind of been showing some creases, some chinks in the armor. You could say a little bit about Georgia showing some chinks in the armor for the first game against Clemson, but ever since, Georgia's basically handled business and things like that. And obviously, you start to see the collision course, Georgia-Bama, here we are. Juan, I want to let you get started here, boss. What are you looking forward to the most about tomorrow?
I'm honestly looking forward to what our defense is going to do versus the Alabama offense. That's the part I'm most excited about. If you actually go and look at that Texas A&M game, Texas A&M bullied Alabama up front, and they got a lot of pressure on Bryce Young. They sacked him 4 times. I mean, there was probably multiple amounts of hurries that they had. The difference is in that Texas A&M game. I mean, they had a huge lead on them. They gave it back. And then, then Arkansas comes down and wins at the end. If we get a lead on Alabama, I think it's going to be curtains. I mean, it's going to be tough for them to try to come back and do what they were doing against these other teams, versus our defense. And also, too, you look at their production and how we match up versus those other teams, the Arkansas, the Floridas, and those teams that Florida's really struggled with. That it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them. And I think that whole, Alabama owns us attitude, and Alabama is going to come up and they're going to play. I mean, I think those days are over.
Absolutely. I'm just going to tell you this right here. I'm excited for it. And I think I'm ready for the players because I know they're excited for it. In my opinion, you can see the playoffs being the end goal, which I think it is. But you can't tell me that, and Juan, you've been a former player, you cannot tell me that these players they're being told to focus week by week, but they have been having their mindset on Atlanta to get this elephant off the bat. Yeah. You just know it's coming. And you know what? And it's plagued us, right? It's been the ghost that has plagued us for years, especially since Kirby's gotten here. This is the time to get it off of your back and be done with it. That's just the way it needs to be.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing with they were using the analogy of the Braves being owned by the Dodgers for so long, and then finally they got that monkey off their back. But and I know that you always hear that, hey, we're going to play game by game and let's focus. But I think that they've taken every single game that they've played and dominated with the purpose of getting to Atlanta. So each game that they play, they say this is we're not playing the Arkansas, we're not playing the Floridas. What we're doing is we are actually preparing for that Alabama game with each and every game. And so I'm excited. This is going to be a big, huge recruiting game, honestly, to be honest with you. And that's why, when I was just talking, in regards to Oklahoma having a coach, getting that coach search in there, every recruit on the planet is going to be looking at this this game. And they're going to be, saying, hey, this is a big time game. These are 2 heavyweights that are going to be battling. And, again, that Brent Venables has that edge to say, hey, we held this group to 3 points. I'm pretty sure we're going to score more than 3 points on Alabama this week. I'm really excited.
I'm with you. JP, what are your thoughts on this game from an outsider standpoint?
Yeah, man, from an outsider's perspective, you're right. I mean, the only chinks in the armor Georgia has shown was that first week, right? I mean, I remember somebody tweeting out the first week, oh, Georgia and Clemson, this is who we're supposed to be scared of. They don't look that good. And then ever since then, Georgia just looked like the top dog, straight up. And so, I think this is y'all's year, really. If you look at it, there's been so many teams that have gotten the monkeys off their back, the proverbial monkey, right? Like Michigan finally beat Ohio State, right? And when Michigan beat Ohio State, I was like, man, we probably going to lose to Oklahoma State tonight because that's the way it's going. And Oklahoma State beat us. Now, people have their theories because we know Lincoln was pretty much gone by then. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not. But regardless,
it could be true.
It could be, definitely. But anyways, Oklahoma State's a good team. They are. And they did it, right? They finally got the monkey off their back. So I think this is the year for Georgia to do it. And, yeah, Alabama's offensive line, I was talking to somebody about the other day, is the worst it's been in years. And I don't know what they think they're gonna do with y'all's boys up front, but Bryce Young, they better have some insurance ready for him because he gonna be on his butt all day long. So hopefully you guys get after him. I'm sure you will. But it's going to be, like you said, a defensive-minded game, I think. And I think, honestly, you guys are going to be able to take it from Jump Street. If you guys build that lead, yeah, it's going to be hard for Alabama to come back in it, because once you get a lead, man, you guys are going to let your dogs hunt, and it won't be pretty from there. So, yeah, that's what I think, man, from an outsider's perspective. I think this is y'all's opportunity.
Yeah, and Georgia, in my opinion, got tested, the first game against Clemson, and I think it was what we needed to, I talked about it being the game of the year yesterday, and because it set the tone, it let us know what we're made of. Because at the time, we didn't understand that Clemson was going to have the year that they had. We knew what they were made of because we saw what happened last year. They were in the playoffs, things like that. We were able to see what defensively we're able to dominate. Nothing has changed since. But offensively, we've gotten more efficient, and that is crucial for a team chemistry like what Georgia has.
Yeah.
Obviously Clemson's defense was just as good as ours because, like I said, it was a 10-3 score and a pick six decided the game. Okay, it's not an offensive score. Defensive pick six is what separated this game. So it tells you that, we had some issues up front in offense. All right. Offense had some questions, but how much of it we didn't know, right? You don't know how much it was based off of how good their defense was. Going on, throughout this regular season, you're starting to see these efficiency numbers. Georgia and Bama both are top 10 in offensive and defensive efficiency right now. So the fact that Georgia's offense is in this top 10 category, it's surprising to me. Not really surprising, but it just shows you, like, people telling you, or, I've heard people saying that, Georgia's offense isn't that great, but we're efficient. Our defense gets people off the field, and then we capitalize, which is why our scoring margin is so high right now, right? Defense is when you sit there and you don't let the team score points at all or that many points, but you're able to capitalize and you score 30 plus, almost 40 points a game. That's a recipe for winning games. And and honestly, since this regular season's over now, we've seen the offense come to fruition. We've saw breakouts from guys like Brock Bowers for sure, Ladd McConkey, A.D. Mitchell, right? While you have guys like Jermaine and Pickens down, but now you're starting to see, look, Pickens came back and played. Didn't do much on the stat line, but he played. And I'm expecting him Saturday to have a huge impact, whether he catches a ball or not, because now you have to game plan against that, which is another weapon in Georgia's offense that makes this offense scary to defend. Juan, we'll talk about this right here. What are some keys to victory? Maybe one or two. What are some keys to victory for Georgia to win the SEC championship game?
Well, first and foremost, it's going to start with the defense, right? And this is a championship. Defense wins championships, and this is the first, step when it comes to it. Our defense just getting pressure on Bryce Young. I mean, and so listen, they've got three great receivers. Alabama does, and so the more pressure that we can get on Bryce Young, the better off we have, as far as not letting him get the ball off. Some other advantages that we do have, though, is the fact that their running back is kind of hurt. He's kind of banged up. So right now they only have one scholarship running back. So that's going to be a huge key for us. And then offensively, just do Georgia football things, right? Just take care of the ball. This is not the game where we need Stetson Bennett to try to fit the ball in tight windows or throw long passes. We don't need him to do that. Just be, like you said, just be efficient. Let's just run the football, and let our backs do the work, right? Lining Cook up in the outside or lining them up in the slot, and just giving them some short passes and just let your big guys just go to work. Also, too, you got big George Pickens out there. He's gonna draw some attention, some big time attention. So allow Brock Bowers and McConkey and those guys just to do whatever they need to do. So you have a huge opportunity. You have a lot of weapons, a lot of things that you can do. Obviously Monken is not going to overthink it. He's just going to do what he's been doing all year. I know that he has an excellent game plan. So again, it starts with the defense, and then offense. Just do what you need to do just to secure the victory.
And I want to talk over here with the brigade a little bit. Mark, I don't know how to spell this name, so I'm not butchering it, but Mark, I'm gonna call you Mark for short. Asked, how old is Georgia's defense? It's a mix right now. If you're looking at starters, you have guys that we're expecting to lose. Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt. Who knows who's going to get drafted, right? You're looking at Nakobe Dean, more likely get drafted, Lewis Singh, Chris Smith. So you're going to lose a lot. But here's the fun part about this. You have guys that are coming back next year that are already difference makers. You look at guys like Jalen Carter. He's a sophomore right now, so he'll be a junior next year. And I would expect him to kind of take over that role. Maybe not to the same level, but definitely fill in on that defensive line. But then you've also got guys that are in the 2 deep and 3 deep. You're looking at guys like Smile Monda, right? You look at Jonathan Dumas-Johnson. You still got Keely Ringo on the outside. This defense is loaded with, seniors all the way down to freshmen with the incoming class, right? Obviously the safeties are going to be interesting to see from a recruiting standpoint. But when you look at this recruiting class for the 2022 cycle, it's absolutely littered with elite defensive back talent. So this is, obviously, Juan, we've talked about this. This is why recruiting matters. Hey, Dan Mullen, by the way, just saying. Anyways, you have to understand that, like, there's going to be guys that are coming back, right? So that it's not going away. You're taking the Bama blueprint basically, and you're putting it in Athens, in my opinion. Juan, do you have anything else to contribute to that?
No, that's it. But I mean, and then of course, when you add the recruiting part of it to it, here's one thing that I did notice, and it's a matter of what is Georgia doing? What are they doing at Georgia? For the last probably 3-4 years, Alabama's had the top recruiting class. And I want to say last year, that 21 class, they said that, that recruiting class was probably the best that Alabama has ever had. And then for them to be struggling as bad as they are right now with all these top recruiting classes, just means that, Georgia's doing something really, really good. And so that's going to be another thing too. So, obviously we're going to be losing some guys, but then of course this recruiting class and how they're coaching them and what they're doing is going to be something special. So no disrespect, JP, but we want to keep landing. You guys can have Brent.
No, but listen, I mean, but that's what I want to hear, right? Like, if you didn't want to keep him, I'd be concerned. So
right,
absolutely, bro. Like, hey, I got a question for you guys real quick. Obviously, I know we've been talking about Georgia, but obviously, Alabama has a dude that I think is pretty special, Will Anderson. Are you guys concerned? I mean, he's one of those guys that can be a game record, right? Are you guys concerned about him at all? Do you think they're gonna try to double team him a lot, slide protection towards him, run away from him, or do you think you guys are just gonna play straight up?
Juan, you want to go first on that?
Yeah, well, that's going to be a tough one, and because right now too, we're struggling a little bit. I think it's our left tackle is out, so that's going to be one of those situations too, where obviously from a game plan standpoint, we have to contain or just make sure that he's not going to absolutely wreck shop. I mean, and Alabama's been just known for that edge guy just to go out there and absolutely just destroy people. We've got some interior issues as well too. So, you can't, use all of your resources just to double one guy and then leave some other things open too. So I know they're going to be prepared to play. But again, like, sliding protection, helping out with the backs and just doing whatever we need to do to make sure that he just does not disrupt and absolutely, dismantle, what we're trying to accomplish offensively.
Yeah.
No, I think you have to game plan for this guy, right? There's a reason why he's in the Heisman discussions. He's a great player, really great player. But look, and Bama's defense is loaded with talent too. But obviously you look at where they are, and there's some mismatches, and we'll talk about this in just a second. There's some mismatches that both teams are going to have to win this game. You're going to have to exploit the mismatch and capitalize on these, right? Obviously, Will Anderson is the best player on Bama's team defensively, in my opinion, right now. You have Toa coming in from Tennessee. You have Dallas Turner as well. The list goes on, right? Kool-Aid, arguably the best name in college football, period, out there patrolling the secondary, Josh Joe, all these things like that, Jordan Battle, things like that. Look, the Bama defense is fine, right?
Mhm.
But there are some, like I said, but we've also seen games throughout the season that have kind of exposed some things, not really like exposing Bama because it's really hard to do that and capitalize on it. A&M being the lone one, and it took, let's just be honest, it took a midnight yell voodoo chant and a gust of wind apparently to beat them by a field goal, right? Looking at the situation, I'm telling you right now, Georgia, you have to game plan against it. Now, how are you going to do that? Do you run, probably outside zone, maybe run it outside zone, bring in, you've got 3 great tight ends, Bowers, Darnell, right? Darnell's going to be the key here, I think, because you put him on the right side and you block Will Anderson or let him try to do that with, you know what I mean? To slow him down. I think that's what you got to do. Georgia's going to, Todd Monken's going to find a way to neutralize him, or at least try to neutralize him. But he's still going to make plays. Understand that Will Anderson will make some plays. You can't just go into this game not realizing that he's going to do that. You can't. He's going to make some plays. All right. So you have to game plan for him. Try to neutralize him but you can't neutralize him 100%. He's just too damn good. With that being said, we talked about mismatches. What is the one mismatch that you see that Georgia and Bama have to capitalize on to win the game? We'll start with JP. JP, start with what Georgia has to do, the one weakness that Bama has that Georgia has to capitalize on to win, and then flip it for Bama.
Yeah. I mean, I said it earlier, right? I mean, their offensive line is, I think, definitely their weakest link in their entire team, and so you guys capitalize on that. You have a field day on that. It's gonna make it hard for them to do anything. It's gonna make it hard for them to flip the field. And then obviously you guys playing Georgia football and being physical, doing what you need to do. Like I said, Stetson Bennett just making the correct throws, like you said, not trying to do too much. Then I think you guys will be fine. And so that's what I would say for Georgia. Alabama wise, I would say, same thing for their defense. They have to do something that makes Stetson Bennett feels like he has to be Superman. That's where you want him, and not that, no disrespect to him, he's not a good quarterback, but again, that's the type of throws you want him to make him make type of throws. You got to shut down the run. You got to be more physical than Georgia's offensive line, which is a task, right? And so I think they're up to it. Their defensive line is really good too. So they just got to go out there, play big boy football, stop the run, and make Stetson put it in the air and see where they go from there. But I think those are the 2 things that need to happen if either team wants to win.
Juan, what about you, buddy? What do you think?
I definitely agree with JP, and also too, it's almost like Patrick Oliver. We also have that same mentality, but for Alabama, if they're going to be successful, they're going to have to take advantage of our secondary. I mean, they got 3 great receivers. We also have I believe a safety that's hurt. So, for them to take deep shots, I mean, we actually have struggled, and Tennessee kind of exposed us by taking those deep shots. We had some completed passes. We also had a lot of pass interference. So you can best believe that they're going to be looking to take those shots against us. The only thing, where we are offensively that just kind of makes me a little bit weary is the fact that our offensive scheme kind of plays right into Alabama's hands for the defense, right? Alabama struggles with that spread, with that running quarterback. You could see they struggled against the Floridas. They struggled a little bit against Tennessee with that quick, fast pace. That spread them out and to just go. Whereas, Alabama's good up, they're pretty decent up front, and our line is not as strong. So for us to go and try to line up and just run it down their throats, that's just not going to happen. So, we're going to have to use our tight ends, get in that 12, 13 personnel, and really just kind of get to the outside. Obviously, go away from Anderson because that's not somebody that we really want to see. So those are going to be some things that are going to be key to the game to see if we can, overcome those issues and just take advantage of those, and then not, be taken advantage of in our secondary.
I think the one key here is in the trenches. Both teams in the trenches. Looking at Alabama, Auburn got 7 sacks, 7 on Bryce Young last week in the Iron Bowl. And their defensive line is nowhere near as good as Georgia's. just nowhere near as good. They were also sending in backers too to kind of, do things to really do that. But I'm telling you right now, outside of Evan Neal, there's some serious questions along that offensive line. And can you protect Bryce Young? He's able to extend plays with his feet. We saw that on the last drive. He's able to extend plays with his feet, but he's still running around. And Georgia capitalizes on this so well. Georgia has to capitalize on it again this Saturday. Get Bryce Young pressured. And if you do that and it becomes a consistent thing to where you're getting pressure and you're getting to Bryce Young, Bama's got to figure out a way to do it. He'll probably do quick passes, right? Try to get it out of his hands. Get it to, I don't know if Brian Robinson will even be playing. I know he's banged up right now. So you might see Sanders. Regardless, you've got a great receiver in Jameson Williams. So in my opinion, I think Bama's, way to do this, test the secondary, right? Test Georgia's secondary. But it also comes in a situation where you got to give them 2 to 3 seconds to let the play develop, because Georgia's going to come after you. That's just what we've done all year. I don't see it changing. We're not going to change it because it's Bama. You have to give Bryce Young enough time to extend the plays to try to test the secondary. If they can succeed that right there, it's going to be a damn good game. It's going to be a really good game. But that's where I'm at with it. I think Georgia has to expose the offensive line and try and really test that offensive line and get to Bryce Young. But I think Bryce Young and on the offense has to test the secondary, get it deep, or, look, Alabama does an excellent job at rub routes. Get some confusion for the secondary. If you can do that, you're going to have some success. That's all I'm going to leave it at there. With that being said, Juan, let's go ahead and jump into this right here. Let's do score predictions. What's your score prediction for the game?
Man, I'm usually expecting Patrick Oliver to help me out with this, but I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I really do, just because Georgia's offense plays right into Alabama's defense. I think our defense plays right into Alabama's offense. Man, oh man, this is going to be one of those ones. I'd probably say 17-14 Georgia. It's going to be, it's going to be a lot closer than many people think. Or I'll go with 21-14 too. I like that, Patrick. But I do. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think the emotions are going to be high. People are going to be just amped up, jacked up. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely insane. I do believe Alabama's going to kind of play out of their mind, but at the end of the day, it's just not going to be good enough.
This is tough. JP, I'm gonna go first. Since we're involved in the conference, I want to get out right here, and then we're going to take it to the third party, right? Somebody's about to join this conference, somebody that's going to see both of these teams, could be on a yearly basis, right, depending on how things set up. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you right now, I'm seeing some comments here that the Brigade is live right now. I'm seeing 28-17 Georgia, 24-23. You pick the winner, right? Patrick Oliver, 21-14. Lots of score predictions. I'm telling you right now, though, if I had to give my score prediction, I'm going 24-13. I might call me crazy, but Bama might be the one shot to score the most. But if that happens, I'll take the fact that I'm wrong. It is what it is. But I just think that what's going to happen is you really just see Georgia's defense suffocate. I don't see it stopping. I think their offensive line, or the offensive line for Alabama, as we bring back on JP, the offensive line is going to struggle. I know Alabama is loaded with talent, but to me, I just think that the defense is just going to be too swarming, in my opinion. So I'm going 24-13, dogs on top. Now, JP, third party here, what say you with the score prediction?
Yeah. I mean, I think that if it pans out the way I think it could, because I think Alabama is going to come into this game, like you guys said, hyped up and ready to go. But I think Georgia is times 3 of that, right? I think that, this is their year, this is their opportunity. And I wonder with how the Tide have struggled this year is, if they get punched in the mouth or they find out Georgia's not going to fold, like they maybe have in the past, if they're not going to a little bit unravel a little. So I'm going to go a little bit higher score than y'all. I'm going to say 35-24, Georgia.
you're gonna have some Bama fans, man, asking how is Bama gonna allow that many points? We'll see. But I'll tell you right now, look, both teams are. Now, understanding statistics, things like this, you have to understand the volume of things. But this statistic really set me off. Georgia has allowed 8 sacks. Bama, I think, was 35. Now, albeit, you have to understand that Bryce Young does throw for a lot. They throw a lot more, right? They throw a lot more. But regardless, 35 sacks, regardless of how many attempts, is concerning to me.
Well, to just a little bit to counter that, Bryce Young is a true dual threat. So there's a lot of times where Bryce Young, instead of just sitting in the pocket waiting for that guy to get open, he could have taken off a lot, a numerous amount of times. And so he's got the legs to do it. He's fast. He's quick. So that's one of those things that you do have to look at. So a lot of those sacks are pretty much on him, where he's just kind of sitting in the pocket too long. Look for Bryce to run a little bit more this game. And I'm pretty sure that, Nick Saban probably was just saying, hey, don't run and don't do too much, up until this game. But he has nothing to lose. Nick Saban is trying to get that fourth spot in that Final Four. So that's something that we have to make sure that we watch out for. We have to have a spy on him to make sure he doesn't take off and run.
Yeah, no, I think Georgia's going to spy. I think you have to. Like I said, the last drive, the game tying drive, right, when Bama was behind, Auburn did not spy, and it came back to bite them because there were several times where you not only you let him run for some yards, but even more so, you let him get out of bounds, right? Everybody wants to point that loss to Tank Bigsby not getting down on their offensive drive, and you could do that. But you still, on defense, you had a minute to drive. They had to drive the entire length of the field in about a minute, and not even a minute and a half.
Yep.
When you sit there, you have to get pressure on them, but also you have to keep them in bounds. A spy in that situation gets him down, right? Gets him down, because if you take a sack or you get tackled, because they didn't have any timeouts either. Take a sack, get right, spy them, or tackle them in bounds. You're looking at a clock situation that anybody would have a hard time navigating through. So Georgia's going to realize that, and Georgia's going to have a spy there. I just think you have to.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%. I think that Bryce Young is, like he said, true dual threat more than I thought. I mean, that guy's got moves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just watching him in high school. He was lights out in high school. I actually expected him to run a lot more once he, got to college. But even in their spring game, they were just saying that he wants to be more of a pocket quarterback. He wants to make sure he sits in the pocket, goes through his reach, which he does a lot of. But he's got some fire. He can absolutely take off and burn it up if he needed to.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I mean, you guys definitely have to have that spy. But if there's one defense y'all shouldn't be worried about in the NCAA, it's the Georgia Bulldogs, just to be real. So, I think you guys will be fine, and I think he'll probably be shocked at the speed of your defensive line. I mean, I know I wouldn't want Jordan Davis coming after me.
Yeah.
Oh, you're absolutely right there. We're going to read over it. Chicken 1515 asks, what team has the better kickers? I'm going to be honest with you. I think Will Riker. I really do. I love Podlesny. He won us a bowl game last year, but he's had some inconsistencies, and to me, it's kind of concerning. So I have to say Bama has in my the edge at kicker. Juan,
which is unusual to hear Bama having a decent kicker.
It really is. Let's see here. Sean Stapleton says that Bryce Young may not last the entire game. I think he will, but Georgia's going to get to him. I think you have to look at that. Chicken also asked who Bama's backup quarterback is. I really don't know. I just don't know.
No clue.
I don't know the name. I know who they got coming in, but I just don't know. And that could, you know what? And Georgia, I'm telling you right now, Georgia better game plan for it, because I don't want to see another damn Tua situation.
Yeah.
Hurts coming back in. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Hey, that's hey, speaking of that year though, man, like this is right now what's going on in Sooners Nation's minds, like the way this has all gone down has hurt us. But the consensus from Sooner Nation, so y'all know, the last thing that hurt us that bad was the 2018 Rose Bowl. I can't tell y'all. Like, I was sick to my stomach
That was a tough one. That was a tough one.
For weeks, I was like, I cannot believe this. This was our opportunity. And I was like, man. And then like to see y'all not finish it off too. Like,
yeah,
I thought you were.
Yeah. Because y'all jumped out on us. And also we didn't know that, y'all's quarterback had the flu. We didn't know he was, suffering. But gosh, you wouldn't be able to tell. That he
played pretty well in the first half.
He looked great, and and he's still one of my favorite guys. I love watching him at Cleveland. He's a great guy. But I know that had to be tough, to lose that, to have Sony Michel go in there and run that ball in, and obviously we were happy, but I know that had to be a
and I
rough one.
felt like if we had half of a defense that could at least force Jake Fromm to throw the ball at that point in time, I think we probably would have won, because your guys' offense that year wasn't necessarily built to come from behind. Now, you had two great running backs in Nick Chubb and Sony Michel. Nick Chubb has obviously become one of the best running backs in the league right now. But I remember one play specifically. You guys are on like the 35-yard line. I think it was Sony Michel, or it might have been Nick Chubb, one of them, obviously. But our entire defense was rotated to the right. And you were in the shotgun. I saw Jake Fromm check, and I was like, oh, my gosh, they're about to score a touchdown. Because he checked to a draw, and literally there was nobody on the left side of the field. And I was like, they're about to score. I looked at my wife and said, they're about to score. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know why we don't call timeout. What happens? 35 yards, right to the right side. Touchdown.
I think that was Chubb. I think that was Chubb that did that one.
Up. Yeah. Was it Nick Chubb? You said?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the one that tied it up.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they have the momentum now. Their defense has come out. They've rattled our offense in the second half because you had a great defense that year. I mean, I specifically remember why is his name escaping me right now? Roquan. Man, he was all over the place that game.
That's right.
I was like, because I had heard about him, but he was the second half. He single-handedly, was wrecking our stuff. But I was like, man, like, where's this kid coming from? Like, he's all over the place, sideline to sideline. Rodney Anderson couldn't get anything going. It was a mess. But anyways, this is my first opportunity to really sit down with Georgia fans.
Really vent it.
I'm over it. I'm finally kind of over it with this new situation. But that one, man, that one sticks in my heart, and most of Sooner Nation hearts too. So
right.
Guys, I'm telling you right now, the feelings of the Rose Bowl win leading into the national title game to get it taken away like it did, and then losing the SEC championship game, these things are haunting. These guys take it personal, and I think Georgia wins. They go into the playoffs, and they decide their fate that way. But we're going to have to end the show, guys. Thanks, everybody, for coming out in the brigade. Look, I hope you enjoyed the show. Like, subscribe, follow. Look, catch us on wherever you listen to your podcast as well. JP, thank you for coming on and giving us some talk about this coaching search at Oklahoma, man.
Yeah.
I needed that.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Hey, let everybody know where they can find you, man.
Yeah, hey, so my Twitter is at @Indy_Sooner. That's at INDY_Sooner on Twitter. You can follow me on there. And then my YouTube is just Indy Sooner on YouTube. You can subscribe there. I do a show every Wednesday night, live stream, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, JP and Trav show. My boy Travis Davison owns a couple of restaurants in Tulsa. But yeah, I so appreciated you guys having me on here. Juan, it was so nice to meet you, man. And
yes, sir.
hopefully I get to come and do it again. I'd love to talk to you more about your experience, even playing for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you played. So hearing that intro was dope. That intro was dope. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Yeah. And I got a son,
awesome.
so my son's headed out to next year. He'll be out at Stanford, so he's gonna. He's got a scholarship offer to play quarterback at Stanford. So I'll be spending most of my money and time and efforts out on the West Coast.
Man, that is amazing, man. No,
Yeah.
it's great to see and I'm sure you know it's great to see the next generation doing so well. I mean, my sister, like I said, she's a D1 track athlete at Oklahoma right now, and
That's awesome.
just I could have never imagined her being the type of athlete she is, man.
Yeah.
Like she was that was supposed to be me. I played college basketball at NIA college in Indiana, and she's supposed to be this little dainty thing. Next thing I know, I come back home from college and she winning state championships in Arkansas, right? Running the 100, 200, stuff like that. So I'm sure you're proud of your son, man. And I can't wait to see what he does at Stanford. That's so awesome. But thank you guys for real having me on here.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, remember, tomorrow, 4 o'clock CBS, you can tune in to the SEC Championship game where the Dogs take on the Tide. Juan, we're going to end it on something that we always do. We're going to talk about Kirby's Is it going to be the same? Is it going to be the same than what you hear against Florida?
It's got to be.
Oh,
it's got to be.
It's got to be, right? We're going to leave it up to
him. This is his old boss, man, and this it's got to be. It's got to be.
Absolutely. So what we're going to do here, guys, thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the game tomorrow, and we will catch you on the next episode, guys. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Let's go.
I still remember like yesterday. Walking out of this bitch at the half. The look and the feeling I had. Looking at Tyson, looking at Stokes, looking at those guys. You know what, guys? This is our fucking year. We do it how we play. It's 0 to fucking 0, and you make them never want to play again. All that shit they're talking, I love it, Jamar. You didn't say shit. You don't say shit to them. You just laugh and point at the scoreboard. Let me get a picture, JD, pointing at the fucking scoreboard. Don't say shit to their undisciplined ass, because we are disciplined. And our ass still don't take the fucking shit out of them. Physically, I want to break them. I'm talking about fucking break these bitches on defense and offense. Let's go, defense.